I mean, when it comes to hip hop, one of the big themes that always seems to stand is the Illuminati. What's your take on the Illuminati?
Now, not then when I was talking about it. Here we
Now.
go again. Same period of time. House got burned down. I was talking about the Illuminati.
Okay.
I kept it to myself. I didn't say anything for years. I did 2 interviews. Here I go with the interviews again. I did 2 interviews. I was writing the book. It was in my computer at my house. House burned down, lost the book. So I'm like, but the Illuminati was just that organization, that name, that secret society that I kind of put out there to let people know there is a secret society that's controlling all of this, especially the moves that's being made in the music industry. I have flow charts, gave names, everything, everyone from the Vivendi on down to the regular peon at the record companies.
Well, you've had some theories about Tupac, Quincy Jones, and so forth. Do you want to talk about those?
We talked about everything else. We might as well. let me say before you ask the question so the people can, yeah.
Well, I kind of prefer for you to say it because
Well,
when I
let me
read
say
it,
it.
when I saw the interviews.
Well, let me say
Yeah.
it. Well, inside of certain organizations, Illuminati being the umbrella, secret societies and sub-secret societies, all of them have rituals. I equated some of those rituals with what was going on in the music industry. How does a person come from having a little bit of talent to being a multi-millionaire overnight with no talent? You must know someone. So it's not what you know, it's who you know. So I started naming the names and going through the rituals that they were going through in order to bind them to these people. So I pulled some rituals from Skull and Bones Secret Society, from the OTO, from other secret societies, other rituals. And I started equating it to what was going on in the music industry. And there's a homosexual ritual that goes on in certain secret societies. I said that's the same thing that's going on in the music industry. And I was correct because later on, people started admitting what was going on, i.e., Cat Williams admitted what was going on at the mansion parties. DMX started talking about what was going on. Tupac, Michael Jackson, I could call a roll. So Professor Griff was absolutely 1,000% correct. Homosexual acts were going on, and this is how people were getting deals, keeping deals, getting put on, the whole bit. Now, these rappers brag about sucking dick and doing whatever the fuck they do to get these deals.
Do they? I've never heard of this.
Shit, do your research.
Okay. But I mean, I guess the one thing that sort of raised an eyebrow with me is that you said that Tupac was killed because he didn't want to engage in these types of acts.
Not necessarily for that particular reason. I think they had Tupac in their sights already. You understand what I'm saying? But now when they assigned a handler to Tupac, maybe even unbeknownst to Tupac, and that man approached you with sexual favors and this trying to control Tupac and he buck, that's all right. We can't neutralize him, so we have to deal with him another way.
Well, I mean, I've studied the Tupac story pretty carefully. Mm-hmm. I've talked to the people that were there at the time that he was killed, people that were there before, some of the law enforcement people that were on the scene and investigated and so forth. I mean, from my point of view, with everyone that I've talked to that are not connected to each other at all, I've even talked to people connected to, the guy that he, got into a fight with and so forth. Yeah. It seems pretty straightforward. Whereas he gets into a fight with someone who's known to be a killer, who's known to have, to be part of a violent group. They beat him up. This guy is known to shoot at people for stuff like this. And then a couple hours he gets shot. It seems pretty straightforward to me.
That's not straightforward. If you watch the footage, there was about 8 people stomping and kicking this dude. How come they didn't get shot too?
Well, Suge Knight did get shot.
I've been in those kind of fights. You understand what I'm saying? I'm getting names and fucking addresses. You understand what I'm saying? So no, don't run that down to me. No. Can I ask you a question?
I mean, Suge Knight. Sure, go ahead.
Who bailed Tupac out of jail?
Suge Knight.
Before that, he was the only one to put the money up. He was the only one to put the money up.
Interscope Records.
So Jada and Will Smith had nothing to do with it?
I didn't know about that. I didn't know. Okay, I know that Jada Pinkett. I know that Jada went to go visit Tupac in jail. I didn't know that she put up any bail.
Well, you and I will probably have to have this conversation at another time.
Okay.
And you need to pick up the book, The FBI's War on Tupac Shakur and Black Leadership by John Potash.
Okay.
All right.
Well,
I mean, John Potash used FBI files. You understand what I'm saying? And
yeah, I mean, you can look at COINTELPRO and you know that the FBI has done a lot of fucked up shit when it comes to the black community.
Yeah, and I don't know what makes people think that they wasn't working on me. I don't want to be on no fucking no-fly list. I want my passport back. I don't want to be hunted down like a fucking animal. This ain't no glamorous shit to be. What the fuck?
So you still don't have your passport to this day?
No. And shit is still happening to me.
Fly.
Wait, we talking Dallas shooter shit happened in July. These motherfuckers are still on. They know I'm here in the studio with JR, my man here. There ain't no secret.
Okay, so this means that you cannot leave the country legally.
I haven't left the country since 2008.
Wow.
So all of those Public Enemy tours, I wasn't there.
Wow. Right, because a lot of their tours are overseas.
Exactly, I wasn't there.
Wow. That's crazy. So you can't even apply for a new passport?
You know, the lawyer that I had to retain in order to fight that's on some really truly having not what you know, like who you got to know somebody like, look, this guy is not this, he's not a terrorist, he's not training people to kill cops. There's a long shit that you got to say that I'm not in order for them people to say, okay, we're going to have a hearing on it. See, it's what they're not saying. And what they're not saying is, we have found nothing on this guy. I don't remember the last time I got a fucking traffic ticket.
But they still have your passport.
Thank you. So you tell me what that's about, for real.
Wow, like I've never even heard of this before. I mean, because you figure if they take your passport, they would arrest you in the process, right?
I've never been arrested in my life.
Right. So how did they take your passport without charging you with anything?
They call it detaining you.
For 8 years now, almost 9 years?
They're neutralizing me. So I won't affect other people in other countries. And Skype ain't gonna work. It's crazy. Those conversations I don't have that's being recorded that they're probably worried about.
I mean, because what I did hear, I hear of people getting deported. Like, for example, my man Shine, who I talk to sometimes, once he got out of jail, they revoked his U.S. citizenship and he had to move back to Belize. And he's not allowed to come back in the U.S. But I've never heard of anyone in the U.S. who they took their passport from, who can't travel outside the U.S.
Yeah, but they dug up all kind of shit. I don't care if it was an alimony case, a child support case, anything that they can find to use, they'll put a combination of those things together to use it. But we've known cases where people have had drug charges, murder charges, and all that kind of stuff, and can travel freely. But they won't let me travel. What is it? Now, y'all just met me. So what is it about me? You understand what I'm saying? I ain't got goons that follow me and travel with me and roll with me. I came here by myself. What is it about this hour-long interview that they've dug into my mind and they kind of figure out he's a fucking threat? Neutralize him.